Saving versus investing. If you don't know the difference, let's talk about it today. Hey guys, Chris Allen with Chris Allen Inspires. On this channel, I'm going to talk about money, mindset, and entrepreneurship. And my hope is that you'll tap into all three in order to change your financial situation. Okay, so saving versus investing. So if you're like me, you're never taught about investing. Now, I do remember my parents talking about saving and how important it was to save, but the conversation of investing, I don't think, at least to my recollection, that conversation was had. I graduated high school in 2003, and it definitely wasn't taught in high school. I did have one professor in college where we had a class in which we had to learn how to calculate the time value of money.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
He did incorporate investing into that portion of the curriculum. So other than that, I didn't have a strong background of financial topics such as investing. Now, fortunately, I was able to work a nonprofit for 10 years in which I was able to present various financial topics, one of which is investing. So definitely thankful for being around financial education and financial education curriculum. Now, most Americans don't come from wealth, and as such, in most American households, the topic of investing is not regularly spoken about. So we're not taught these financial concepts. We're not given financial information on a regular basis from a young age up into adulthood. Most Americans learn from the school of hard knocks, or nowadays we're getting our information from YTU, YouTube University. I think I'm an honorary doctorate from YouTube University. I put in a lot of hours. Okay, so savings. What is it and how does it differ from investing? So savings by definition is income that is not spent or is considered deferred consumption. Whereas investing is where you dedicate an asset to attain an increase in value over a period of time. One of the things that really stood out to me when talking about investing, it says that an investment requires the sacrifice of a present asset, whether it be time, money, or effort. In today's video, I'm going to talk about investments from the standpoint of stocks, bonds, mutual funds, those types of things. So let's talk about savings first. When thinking about savings, I want you to think about this: an emergency fund or saving for major purchases. You're going to defer your consumption for an emergency that comes up later or for a major purchase that comes up later. This is not necessarily considered something that might be long term. When thinking about emergency funds, if you haven't gotten one yet, a good place to start would be $1,000. $1,000 might get you out of, your car breaking down, maybe an appliance or something goes out at your home, maybe you need to fix a flat tire. So $1,000 is a good place to start. You really want an emergency fund that covers 3 to 6 months of expenses. Now, with the pandemic, we don't know when the pandemic is going to be officially over. So I would encourage you to save up as much as you can, as much as 6 months to 1 year of expenses. Now, when we think about major purchases, maybe it's a down payment on a home. Maybe you're going to be relocating soon. Maybe you want to even start a business or get into entrepreneurship. So you want to save up some money to be able to accomplish those short-term goals. Now, when we're thinking about savings, I want you to think about where you're going to park your money at. A couple good places to think about would be a high-yield savings account or a CD. Now let's flip over to investing. Now, when investing, you're going to actually be putting your money, again, you're going to sacrifice or dedicate your current asset, for a future return on that investment. So we want to be thinking about things like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, 401k or 529 plan. So we're sacrificing a present asset, money, and we're going to dedicate that into the financial markets. Now, while they're in the market, they're going to produce a specific return on your investment. Now, I won't get into the specific details about the different types of investments that you can do. That video will be saved for another day. But in general, we want to be thinking about risk. Typically, the more risk you take, the higher reward, or if you want a higher reward, you're going to have to take a higher risk. Whereas a lower risk will yield a lower reward or return on your investment. So a bond will be less risky than a stock. A mutual fund is a way to diversify or spread out your risk. Your 401k is another way of diversifying risk. There's also IRAs and 529 plans. All of these are products where you're taking your funds and putting it into the financial market. So again, I won't go into the details of each of these different investment types, but in other videos we'll try and break down each one individually. So back to my original point, saving is more I like the definition of deferred consumption. You know that you're going to consume those funds at some point, but it's just going to be deferred from the time that you earn it. Whereas investing, you're going to take a certain portion of your current assets and put that into the financial market. Now, the more that you can put into the markets over a consistent period of time, for a longer period of time, the greater reward you're going to receive. However, there's always risk. There's no way of guaranteeing a return on an investment, so investment does involve some risk. However, over time, investing in things like the stock market as a whole, there's been about a 10% return on investment. Now, one thing to think about with investments that I'll kind of hit on later, but I do want to bring it up, is that inflation, you want to protect against inflation as well as taxes. So now you know the difference between saving and investment. Go ahead and hit the notification bell. That way you're notified when I do the updates on these other investment types. And if the video was helpful for you, go ahead and throw a like on it. Until the next time, peace.